Understanding the different types of overflow, scroll overflow allows the user to scroll through the content. Auto overflow, a combination of scroll and visible overflow. Visible overflow allows the content to overflow outside the container. What is text overflow and how does it work? Text overflow is a CSS property that manages text overflow. The most commonly used value for text overflow is ellipsis. Text overflow is often used in conjunction with the whitespace and overflow CSS properties. CSS properties for text overflow. Ellipsis adds an ellipsis at the end of the text when it overflows. Clip removes any content that overflows the container. String adds a custom string at the end of the text when it overflows. Implementing text overflow ellipsis with CSS, use the text overflow property in conjunction with the whitespace and overflow properties. Troubleshooting text overflow ellipsis, check that the container has a fixed width and is not using a percentage width. Adjust the width of the container to ensure that the text has enough space to display before the ellipsis appears. Make sure that the text overflow property is set to ellipsis. Using ellipsis in HTML with the title attribute. The title attribute in HTML can be used to add an ellipsis to text that overflows a container. Truncating text with CSS, alternative methods to text overflow ellipsis. CSS truncate text uses a combination of width and overflow properties to truncate text. CSS truncate similar to CSS truncate text, but it uses the clip property instead of ellipsis. Best practices for using text overflow and ellipsis in CSS. Use fixed widths. Ensure that the container has a fixed width. Consider user experience. Be mindful of how truncating text affects readability and legibility. Test across different devices and browsers. Text overflow and ellipsis can behave differently across different devices and browsers. Conclusion and final thoughts on mastering CSS word wrap. CSS text overflow and ellipsis are powerful tools for managing text overflow. Understanding the different types of overflow and the CSS properties for text overflow is crucial. Implementing text overflow ellipsis with CSS can effectively manage text overflow in designs. Follow best practices and test designs thoroughly across different devices and browsers.